Wow, that is beautiful. Ooh, I don't even want to touch it.
Welcome back to Stauffer Garage, guys. Today's detail is not only a 2013 Hyundai Elantra that's trashed, but it is also, once again, one of your guys' car that is getting detailed. So, with that being said, if you guys live in the Columbus, Ohio area, or if you live in a neighboring state, or if you want to make the trip all the way here and get your car detailed, send me an email at thestauffergarage@gmail.com. Regardless, guys, today's detail has our work cut out for us today. There was 2 children that rode in the back of this car, made quite a mess of the rear seats, as you guys can tell from the stains, but we're gonna be able to get them all out with the tips and tricks that I'm gonna share with you guys as well. I also wanna thank Mobile Tech RX for sponsoring this video, helping make this channel possible, and we'll get into all the details later on what that app is about. And if you guys are new, smash that subscribe button down below, give this video a like, let's go ahead and get started.
As you guys can see from these before shots, the seats are dirty. These ones are definitely filthy, and the black light only shows organic matter. So you're talking any bodily fluids, milk, proteins, any sort of thing like that that comes from an animal definitely shows up underneath the black light. And to be honest, I've never seen anybody using a black light in a detailing video on YouTube. So I'm excited to show you guys something different, something really cool, and it definitely is gonna look awesome at the very end because I'm gonna show you the black light after all the extraction to see how good of a job we truly did. So per usual to Stauffer Garage standards, unhook your battery so that way when you pull out your seats or pull out any sort of electrical connector, you don't have to worry about causing any sort of faults or any sort of issues with your electrical system in your car. Even though these are black carpets, which hide a lot of dirt, you can tell how much is actually on the surface, especially on the sides, on the driver's side and the passenger side, that we're going to be hitting with our extractor to get these carpets looking like new again. The first order of business as usual is to get the front and the rear seats out for this job because these rear seats are definitely going to be some fun extraction. And one thing I was happy to see is that underneath the rear bench seat, even though there was kids in the car, I can definitely tell that they didn't do a lot of this damage because there wasn't a ton of dirt or kid stuff underneath the seat, which is usually where it collects. So, and a little bit of vacuuming here will definitely clean this area up. So for me, I like to always start vacuuming first because the first thing I always like to do after is start the extraction process. So that way I have adequate time for the carpets to dry before I return it back to the customer the next day. Even though some dirt will fall off the dashboard, I'll track in some dirt on my shoes. I try to put a tarp down afterwards, but at the end of the day, doing a follow-up vacuum at the very end typically takes like 5 minutes tops. And for me, just by getting it out of the way now, doing the extraction up front, I feel the process is much more efficient. And if you guys have never seen this little red tool that I'm using, it's called a lily brush. I sell them on my website, foxclean.com, and I'll have that linked below if you want to check it out. Not only can you use it on the carpets and the seats inside your car, but on any sort of fabric or your clothes. It does a really good job at getting dog hair off of every surface I've tried. And I'm trying to put these before and after shots of each little section to show you, and the driver's side shows it the most. Is before vacuuming, it actually doesn't look too bad, but as soon as the vacuuming's done and it pulls off some of the darker dirt off the top surface, you can see how much more of that tan brown dirt is covering that black carpet that we're going to be pulling out with the extractor. For the first round of extraction, the cleaner that I'm using is actually Dawn dish soap, has a little bit of vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and water. And the reason why I'm using this is, one, in the last video it worked really well, but it helps with a lot of those bodily fluids, and also just from a sanitation standpoint, and also the Dawn dish soaps helps with any grease that might be on the surface initially. So I'm using the first pass with this product, and for the second pass I'll be using my Chemical Guys carpet shampoo. I think it's pretty awesome that just by using the drill brush on the surface without doing any extraction, majority of the stains are already not showing up any longer. But to be honest, once it would dry, they would come back up to the surface anyways. So with the extractor, you can see that even half of the seat looks 10 times better than the remainder of the seat. So with a second pass, these seats will look like brand new again. So just after one pass, the black light isn't picking up nearly as much stuff as it was before. There's still a little bit remaining. So the second pass using the Chemical Guys shampoo should get all of it out and also make the seats smell 10 times better. So for the second rear top seat, I actually didn't even use the first solution that I used previously. I just went straight for the Chemical Guys shampoo. And because of that, I can see that after the extraction was done with the first pass, the black light picked up even less than the other one did on the first one. So from here on out, I'll be sticking with the Chemical Guys shampoo only, doing a second pass, and getting all of those stains completely out of the seats. Now for this rear bench, I'm going to be saturating the seats quite a bit more than I did the top seats, and that's because if these stains are so embedded into the carpet that the owner was able to have them come to the surface after getting them a little bit wet, we need to make sure that we get the stains that are deeper down out of the seat itself so that way it doesn't come up again. Now here is the first pour from the extractor of the back seats and then half of the rear bench seat. Now the right side of the seat was where majority of the stains were popping up with the black light. So this was the one that needed the most attention whatsoever. So started off with the Chemical Guys All Clean, which is just an all-purpose cleaner because it's more of a grease fighting agent. And I wanted to try to see how well it did with the first pass with the drill brush at getting a lot of these stains out. And one thing I wanted to mention is all the products that I use are safe on car fabrics, but a lot of times when I see some of these cars, I like to try different products or different processes because you never know what is going to be better at different things. And I'm still learning personally, and that way you guys can see what works for me, and hopefully you guys can apply it as well to your cars. Now because the right side of the seat got a lot of those little tiny dot stains out, I went back to use the all-purpose cleaner on those to see if they could be removed, and I was really happy to see that it was probably a grease stain that needed to be extracted. Now for the passenger seat, I'm going to be starting with wiping down the seat rails and the plastic panel trim just to get those clean before I vacuum the seat and then use my all-purpose cleaner to agitate the seats with the drill brush and then extract before I hit it with the carpet shampoo following on the second pass. And then I'm going to repeat the same process on the driver's side seat. And if you guys are interested in any of the tools or products that I use in my videos, I always have them linked in the description box below if you want to check them out. Now with the seats out of the way, we're going to go straight into cleaning up the driver's side floor carpet area. And I'm going to be spraying my Chemical Guys carpet cleaner shampoo onto this carpet first, letting it sit for approximately 10 to 15 minutes after I've agitated with my drill brush before I extract with just using hot water in my extractor. I was definitely happy with how one pass turned out, but using 2 to 3 passes is typically how this goes with making sure that I get all of the dirt and all of the soap out of the carpet. So I mentioned earlier that the owner is in the process of getting new floor mats, but one thing I want to stress for you guys watching this video is if you don't have floor mats in your car, if they're worn out, if there's holes in them, I highly recommend picking up a set because it can save your carpet from getting nasty like some of the details you see in my videos, and it can save them from getting ripped or torn and just making a mess in your car. So rubber floor mats are definitely the way to go, especially even if you live in southern states. It just makes it that much easier to just dump it out, spray it off with a hose, and throw it back in.
We can do what we want to do, 'cause we got all the time in the world. For better or worse, we should stay together. So let's stay young and in love. We should focus on us forever. Yeah, baby, if you are feeling like I do, we can run away across the ocean. Baby, what you say? We can leave today. Anywhere we'll go.
Now for the door panels, the entire thing is plastic, so it makes it really easy to get them clean. So I use my soft bristled drill brush to kind of hit all of the panels to get all of that textured surface dirt out of it, and then I can just wipe it up with my microfiber towel after. Now for any door panel seam or dashboard seam, I have these bristle brushes that I like to use that help get into those different cracks and crevices. I'm expecting them to be back in stock sometime in mid-April for you guys if you want to pick them up as well. I've had some supplier issues with getting them back in stock, but they're actually being manufactured at this moment, so I'm excited for them to be back. Sometime mid to end of April is hopefully the latest that it'll be. And for the bristle brush, I like to just spray the cleaner directly into the bristles for the first pass. And if that's not enough, sometimes I'll just spray the surface directly. But typically by soaking the fibers in the brush itself, that's enough fluid to get the whole complete dashboard clean. One tip when you clean your car is make sure you move your steering wheel in and out, up and down, whatever direction, because if you don't, you're going to miss a lot of area behind there that a lot of dirt likes to collect. And the same goes for the shifter. Put your key in your car, put your foot on the brake, and move the shifter all the way back to the lowest gear possible, and clean on the inside of the shifter area, which is typically missed when you're doing your car detail when the car's in park. And like I mentioned, I always do the seats and the carpet first for this very reason. I've had plenty of time with setting up the seats upright so they can drain off any water that might have collected inside of them that was excess. And then also my blower fans can blow on them and dry while I finish up the rest of the detail. And now with the seats back in the car and everything looking awesome, it's time to just vacuum the floors for that last final pass to get any kind of crumbs or dirt that I might have tracked into the car when reassembling. And I saved the windows for last because you never know if you're going to splatter anything on them or you're going to touch them and grab them when you're trying to get in and out of the car. I try to save it for last. That way they're completely clean at the very end of the detail. And also be sure when you clean your windows to roll them down slightly to get that top little lip edge before you finish up the rest of the window. And here are the before and after shots that you guys love to see. It's definitely a transformation, especially on the rear seat bench itself. And the best part is when I pulled up the black light, I'm only seeing dust particles on the surface now. There's no more deep staining on either the front or rear seats. So the processes and the different chemicals I used were definitely top notch at getting all of those different stains out. So I want you guys to make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on notifications to join the Stauffer Garage crew. Every Saturday morning we have a new video come out, and it's awesome hanging out with you guys that first hour, commenting, answering any of your questions you guys might have in the comments below. So thank you guys so much for watching again, and make sure you stick around to the very end to see the owner's reaction when I give the car back to him. And I want to say thanks to him for letting me get his reaction on film, because it honestly just makes the detail that much more worthwhile.
Oh man, look at that. Holy cow. Oh man.
The back seat's where the real magic happened.
Wow, that is beautiful. Ooh, I don't even want to touch it. It's just
I left the towel for you down here so that way you don't get the floors dirty too.
Look at that. It's like immaculate, man. This is the big part right here. I mean, when I got this used, I think there were already stains there anyway, so they didn't even get that part out. But you just like, you nailed it, man. This is amazing. Yeah, that's years of, you know, just abuse. You know, when you have kids, I think you can understand that too.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm glad. Yeah, it turned out real nice. So, well, thank you for letting me detail too.
Amazing. No, thank you.
Yeah.
You're the man.